So, hello Estelle, this is Fabiola, and this is going to be hopefully just a short little video to show you how I was trying to explain to you how to isolate just that little part of a hanging tag off of a existing design so that you can use it in another design. So I hope that that introduction makes sense to someone who might also be watching this that hasn't been following a conversation between myself and one of my friends. So here I am in MBX, and this is version 5. And in version 5, you're going to have the ability to decide how it is that you want to open up a design. So for example, what I'm saying is that if you were going to open an existing stitch file, and a stitch file is a design that is ready to sew on a sewing machine. For example, for a Janome user, that would be a Jeff file. When you open a Jeff file, what you really want, if you're just going to be maybe changing a color of a part of a design or something like that, you want to have the software program keep your design exactly as it was created and saved for you by the digitizer. And so what that means is up here in your upper toolbar, you have this software settings function. When you turn this on, you can come down to the embroidery settings and open that up, and the little pop-up window comes open. And normally, if you are working with a stitch file, you're going to want to keep this selected, leave stitches as individual stitches, because as I was saying, what you want your software to do is to not tamper with or change or alter any of the design properties that have been built in to that embroidery design. But in the case where we want to try to pull out one little section of a design, we're going to want to actually come in here and under this recognize the stitch file, we're going to want it to convert the stitches into object shapes. So I'm going to click that and I say OK here in my software. And now I'm going to open an existing stitch file. How I've decided I want to do this on this project that I'm doing is I'm just going to come over to the Layout tab and insert a design. This is the design that I'm going to get. It's a lace angel. That was a free design that I got with a small tag. And I'm going to open it up in the Jeff format. So when this design opens up, here it is in the middle of my screen, and you can see that everything is highlighted. I am going to automatically come in here, and you can see if you're looking at my sequence bar over on the right hand side that all the objects have been grouped together, and I do not want them grouped, so I'm going to select the object, right click, and I am going to ungroup it. The reason that I want to do that is because I want to be able to just take this little circle, freestanding lace circle, and save it to use in another project. Because I am doing this for somebody who doesn't want to have to digitize their own little hanging tag. Alright, so over on the sequence bar on the right hand side, we can scroll down and we can see that this design has been broken up into many little parts. We're going to get rid of all of those parts and only save this little hanging tag. How am I going to do that? Well, first of all, I'm going to click and drag my mouse over this object to try to find where it's at in all of this list. And there is the main circle. I'm going to change it to a different color. I'm just going to choose lime green. I'm also going to be noticing in my sequence bar that right above this circle, I'm also going to see that this obviously is part of it as well. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to change it to the same lime green color. Now when I come to sequence bar, I'm going to change my color back into just the color view. I'm going to delete everything that is not the bright green. So there's that blue. I'm holding down my control key and clicking, and I'm going to get rid of everything, delete. All that's left is this little green hanging tag. Well, obviously you're now going to look at it and see that it has this running stitch where it connected to another part of the design, because that's how freestanding lace is created. All the parts, if it's pathed nicely, are going to interconnect with one another so that your lace does not fall apart. But I don't need this section. So I'm going to click on this object. Actually, I'm going to come out of the true view so you can just kind of see it in that view. Come to your reshape tool, because this is now in stitches. You're going to see every little stitch point that has been, that is part of that object. All I'm going to do is click and drag, and I'm going to delete. I'm going to zoom in really closely. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to select this one, and I'm just going to pull it inside of there. And there's my little hanging tag. So I'm going to escape. I am now going to select this object. In my layout tab, I'm going to auto center this to the work area. I think. Let's see, did it not want to do that? Let me zoom out and see what happened. Yeah, so there it is. It's centered to the work area. I will select enter so it does go into the work center of my hoop. And I'm going to save this little object, okay? I will do that by coming over to Output Design. It is a GEF file, and I'm going to save it as a GEF file. I will export it into the same folder that I got the original design out of, which means, where was I at? Oh, I was in Angels. Angels, Freestanding Lace, Classic Sewing Magazine. It's Design 1. I'm going to change the name to Loop. Small, and save it. So now I have this little hanging loop that I can try to insert into another designs. And I think what I'm actually going to do is demonstrate that real quickly also. I'm going to come back to Layout. I'm going to insert this design. This time, this package of angels that I have also had a version of a small angel that did not have a tag or loop on it. So I'm going to open this one up. Might take a moment. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to select this little green tag. And I'm just going to move it. Oops, that didn't work. Let's see. Sometimes it's a little difficult to isolate things like this. I'm going to use my arrow buttons to try to get it out of the center of this design. And it goes a little bit slowly, but this is actually just a safe way so that I don't grab part of the design that I don't want. So when I can get it out of the way of the main part of the design, that's safe now. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, find that tag, grab it, and move it to a place where I think I might want it. And what I was trying to explain also to my student was try to tuck it under that portion of the design so that what will happen with it is that it will get caught inside of this stitching at some point in this design. Okay, probably what I would do with this is I would come back over here into the sequence bar, and I would make sure that all of this is ungrouped. And more than likely what I would do is I would then get these two green sections and I would move them further down into the sequence bar, maybe possibly somewhere at the point when it's stitching, maybe some of this part of the design or something like that. So hopefully that made some sense to you about how to use a couple of functions in MBX version 5 using a stitch file rather than an object file to try to isolate a portion of a design that you can use in another design. I hope this video helped. Thanks for watching.